Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It is great to see you all here this morning in the sanctuary, and those of you who are joining us online. Let's all of those gathered here say hi to the folks who are online. There's the camera. Wave. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What a beautiful spring day it is, and it is made all the better by seeing your smiling faces, or at least the top half of your smiling faces. I am Reverend Peter Friedrichs. We're leading worship today with Chrissy Bushyeager, our Director of Religious Education, and Joy Thiessen, our musician. Hi, Joy.
Hi, Peter.
How are you this morning?
I'm all right.
That's good. That's good. So today is a special service in several different ways, so I want to give you a little briefing up front. First of all, in this service, we are going to be recognizing and celebrating our religious education volunteers during the service. So all of those of you who have helped to mentor and lead and guide and teach our children, we want to make sure that you feel appreciated. And in the 11:15 service, we are going to be recognizing and welcoming our newest members. Over the course of the past 2 years, we've had about 20 members or so join the church, even though we were in that pandemic mode, and so we want to welcome those folks. So that's going to be happening in our second service. In both services today, rather than a sermon, we wanted to provide you with an opportunity to ask me questions. And that's why you were handed a note card when you entered the sanctuary. And the idea is, if you have questions about the ministerial transition that we're facing with my retirement coming up in a few weeks, if you have things you'd like to express and say, if you're anxious, if you're excited, if you're hopeful, if you're worried, anything you want to put on that card, you can write it on the card. You can put your name on it if you want, but you don't need to put your name on it. We will collect those cards during the service, and then in the sermon slot for the worship, I'll be answering those questions or responding to the comments that you provide. So I would ask you, if you are a religious education teacher or volunteer who's going to be going out and leading the kids for their it's the last class today, right? Last class of the spring. You can hand those on the way out the door to Kathy Alston and Jane Seeloss, who are two of our board members. If you are not leaving the sanctuary to lead our children, those will be collected during the offering time. So any questions about the questions? Any questions about the process? So anytime during the service up until the point where you're either leaving or the collection is being taken, jot down any thoughts or questions you might have, and we'll seek to respond to them later on in the service. For those of you who are online, you are going to be able to use the chat function. Marilyn Huff, who is our online host today, will gather up those questions from those of us who are with us via Zoom, so they will have a chance to ask their questions too. Now, we may not be able to get to everybody's questions. We're going to try to sort of group similar questions together so that they're answered. But it may be if we have a lot of questions or a lot of comments, we'll find a way to respond to them online and let you know what that might look like. All right? Okay, so I think, let's see, closed captioning is available for our Zoom folks, and as always, we have the breakout rooms after the service for those people who are online and want to meet with a smaller group, and we will have refreshments out in the circle outside after the service for those of you who are here. Chrissy, what time do parents need to pick up their kids from RE?
10:45.
10:45 is when our...
Sorry, and I think everyone will be outside by that point.
And everyone will be outside. Okay, so you can probably meet your kids outside in the circle at 10:45 at the end of their RE programming.
Or on the playground.
Or somewhere running around the grounds. So without further ado, let us begin our worship this morning by rising in body or in spirit and joining as Joy leads us in All Creatures of the Earth and Sky. The words will be on your screen.
Bright morning sun with golden beams. Please remain standing and join me in the recitation of our covenant in just a moment. Enriched by our differences and joined together in our search for meaning, we covenant with ourselves and each other to seek truth in a spirit of love, to strive for justice, and to serve others with a joyful heart. You may be seated. I'd like to invite the Shake family forward to light our chalice.
Good morning. Thank you for being our chalice lighters today. Our chalice lighting words come from the Reverend Suzelle Lynch, the former minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Brookfield, Wisconsin. Our community is filled with beauty. When you open the door to greet me, that's where the beauty begins. When you share with me what's important to you, beauty is there as I listen. When we join hands to practice compassion, beauty's heart blooms like a flower. When we teach or learn or work for justice, beauty abounding sparks joy in all. Let's light the chalice for beauty, the beauty we seek, the beauty we share, the beauty we nurture together. Thank you. Yeah. I invite you now to remain seated and sing along with our centering song as you enjoy the visual meditation.
May I be filled
Whenever I hear that meditation, I just feel myself kind of sinking into this time together. It is so precious to see all of you and have all of you here, both in the sanctuary and online. One of the ways that we express loving kindness towards one another is by sharing the joys and sorrows of our lives. We do that here in the sanctuary by dropping stones into a bowl of water. We do that online by sharing joys and sorrows in the chat. I now invite anyone who has a joy or sorrow today in the sanctuary to come forward and drop a stone into the bowl, knowing that that joy is shared, as is any sorrow that you may be carrying. And online, I invite you to share your joy or sorrow in the chat. All are invited. I can't tell you how it moves my heart to see children who once were held and couldn't reach the basket now are in the bowl. They are able to put their own stones into the bowl, and then those who are being carried now thinking about how soon they'll be able to do that themselves. I'll drop 2 stones into the basket. One stone will represent all the joys and sorrows that have been shared by those of us joining us online, and the other representing stones of joy and sorrow for those members of our community who are not with us today. Please join me now in a time of prayer. Spirit of life and love, great and gracious God, deep mystery beyond knowing and naming, with the splash of stone in water, we celebrate life. We celebrate our time together, which is so very precious, whether we're here physically together or online as well. We are gathered as one community, caring and sharing for and with each other. Let us give thanks for the change of season. Let us give thanks for the beauty of the earth. Let us give thanks for the beauty of one another's presence. For those who have concerns or sorrows or are grieving today, if you are anxious or feeling alone, please know that we are with you, that you are never alone, that we are here for one another. That is what it is to be part of a community, a circle of love and care. For those who are celebrating today, we celebrate with you. We are so excited for whatever it is that excites you. We lift you up as you lift us up. We know the world can be a dark and scary place, and yet here we are in the presence of our chalice flame, together, sharing and being the light for one another. Let us offer up a prayer for all those who are in harm's way, close by or far away, especially the people of Ukraine who continue to fight a fierce battle for independence for their homeland. Let us pray for all those who have become refugees as a result of that conflict, as well as other conflicts around the world. And let us, as always, pray for peace. Let us commit to be instruments of peace. Let us make peace in our homes, in our hearts, in our communities, and where we can within the wider world. May we know peace. May we be peace. May we make peace. We offer up these prayers in the name of all that is holy and in all the holy names. Amen. I invite you who are here in the sanctuary to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing Spirit of Life, along with the body movements that we have come to know. And those at home can follow right along and sing as well. There's a little lead in for us. Thank you. Is that the note, Joy? No. Today, we share our gratitude with those who have given of themselves this past year as guides and mentors in the journey of faith. We will call teachers up in groups and ask that you hold your applause until all the teachers have assembled. And as you are called forward, if you are a teacher, guide, mentor, please take a pin from one of the baskets as a token of our appreciation.
I'm interrupting. I know we have some of our teachers on Zoom today, some of our teachers who are sick or who are traveling. So if you are a teacher on Zoom and we call your name, maybe wave so the people scrolling through Zoom can also see you. And you can pick up your pin anytime from me when you're here again.
So first, I call forward teachers and assistants of our youngest children, preschool through second grade.
Mary Clinton, Ginger Daly, Deirdre Konar, Ross Konar, Teresa Mayberry, you can come up, Melissa Nedza, Natalie Noble, Osmond Shake, and Gloria Spicer.
And then just stand up front, please.
I call forward teachers of 3rd through 8th grades.
Tom Ammon, Allison Chabot, John Davies, Justin Davis, Christine Dole, Liz Dunn, Susan Foster, Abby Houston, John Jersika, Rena Jersika, and Kelly Rayfield.
I call forward our Whole Lives teachers.
Tom Ammon, Jen Goldberg, Seneca LeBond, Julie Larner, Tanya McDaniel, Liz Small, and Mary Fran Torpy.
I call forward our youth leaders and mentors.
Marge Caton, Kate Gordon, Jennifer Gould, Kirsten Liu, Rachel Lundberg, Kate Ramos, and Brad Randall.
So don't forget, these folks who are in front of us in the sanctuary represent only a part of those who have led and mentored and guided our children and youth this year. We give thanks for your service to our church, our children, and our youth.
Please remain standing and accept our deepest appreciation. I ask the congregation to join me in a litany of thanks to our teachers. Your response is, "And so we thank you." Can we practice? And so we thank you.
When there was a need for teachers, leaders, and mentors, you came forward. And so we thank you.
On Sunday mornings, during COA retreats, and for teacher training, you were here. And so we thank you.
Preparing lessons, gathering supplies, and being present in the classroom, you did what needed doing. And so we thank you.
Supporting spirits and tending hearts, you were an advocate for our children and youth. And so we thank you.
Giving your time, talent, and wisdom to help grow our UU values and identity. And so we thank you.
Thank you to all of our teachers. You may be seated.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to Roxy and Dylan for holding our pins for us this morning.
And let me interrupt you now.
You can interrupt me.
So I just wanted to remind you that at the next service, we are going to be also welcoming new members into the congregation. And I believe on the back, let's see, where is it? Our new members are listed on the insert in your order of service. So they'll be here at our second service. Thank you all for participating, and thank you so much to all of our teachers and mentors for the work you've done this year.
It is a busy day of recognitions at UCDC this morning. All right, so it is time for our children to go to their religious education classes. As a reminder, pickup is 10:45. I think everyone will be outside. And Joy will play our sending song for us. The first time through, let's have our teachers go out, and then the second time, the children will join them to go. And if you have a card with questions, you can hand it to one of the people standing at the back doors. Thank you.
Now is the time in our service in which we receive your generous offering to support this church and its work in the world. As we have been doing for more than 2 years now, you probably know we do this electronically using your smartphones. You can text the amount you would like to contribute to the congregation. The number is printed on your screen. Also, as we are receiving this morning's offering, Kathy Alston and Jane Seeloss, members of the board, will come through and receive any cards that you have with questions or thoughts on them. If you could pass those to the middle aisle so that they can collect those, we'd appreciate it. Thank you for your generosity. That was lovely, Joy. What was that called?
Granados, Maison.
Granados, Maison. Thank you. So we know it's coming. We know that in a few short weeks I will be leaving this congregation, and that's why we wanted to provide an opportunity for you to ask questions and make comments, and so that'll be coming in just a little bit. But I was looking this week for an appropriate reading, and I found something by the poet John O'Donohue. It's not a poem, it's more of a short essay, and it's called Beyond Endings. So I'd like to share this with you today. Beyond Endings. Endings seem to lie in wait. Absorbed in our experience, we forget that an ending might be approaching. Consequently, the ending signals its arrival. When the ending signals its arrival, we can feel ambushed. Perhaps there is an instinctive survival mechanism in us that distracts us from the inevitability of ending, thus enabling us to live in the present with innocence and wholeheartedness. Experience has its own secret structuring. Endings are natural. Often what alarms us as an ending can in fact be the opening of a new journey, a new beginning that we could never have anticipated, one that engages forgotten parts of the heart. Due to the current overlay of therapy terminology in our language, everyone now seems to wish for closure, it's in quotes. This word is unfortunate. It is not faithful to the open-ended rhythm of experience. Creatures made of clay with porous skins and porous minds are quite incapable of the hermetic sealing that the strategy of closure seems to imply. The word completion is a truer word. Each experience has within it a dynamic of unfolding and a narrative of emergence. When a person manages to trust experience and be open to it, the experience finds its own way to realization. Though such an ending may be awkward and painful, there is a sense of wholesomeness and authenticity about it. Then the heart will gradually find that this stage has run its course and the ending is substantial and true. Eventually, the person emerges with a deeper sense of freedom, certainty, and integration. The nature of calendar time is linear. It is made up of durations that begin and end. The Celtic imagination always sensed that beneath time there was eternal depth. Beneath time there was eternal depth. This offers us a completely different way of relating to time. It relieves time of the finality of ending. While something may come to an ending on the surface of time, its presence, meaning, and effect continue to be held into the eternal. This is how spirit unfolds and deepens. In this sense, eternal time is intimate. It is where the unfolding narrative of individual life is gathered and woven. Now, if that resonates with you, if there are pieces of it that speak to you, I'll put this quote on the church Facebook page so you can have time to revisit it. It spoke to me in deep places as we consider the ending of our time together. Joy? Joy has a song, I think, this morning about seasons and turnings and...
Yes. This week is Pete Seeger's birthday, in addition to being my mother's birthday. He wrote this song called Turn, 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 and I invite you to sing along with me. Give me the harmony on the turn, turn, turns. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant
Is this on? This is on. So this is how this is going to work. Kathy Alston, who is our board president, and Jane Seelos, who is a member of our board, have sort of gone through the questions that were submitted and the comments, and they're going to read some or pose some to me. There may be some that the board may want to answer. So we'll just jump right in, I think, and we'll do the best we can.
Okay, we're going to start easy for you.
Oh, good.
So I'm combining a couple here. How are you planning to fill your retirement days, and will you spend more time with your grandchildren?
Well, the second one is easy, of course. Yes, so Irene and I are moving to New Hampshire. We are going to be close to our younger daughter, who has 3 of our 4 grandchildren, so I'm sure there'll be more grandchild time. There are a couple of things I'm planning to do right off the bat. One is I want to get back to writing. It's been a long time since I've done any creative writing, and it's almost the 1-year anniversary from when my book was published last year, and I'm hoping to do more writing. I'm hoping to also continue a coaching practice that I've been developing for clergy and other nonprofit leaders, and so I've got a few clients now, but I'm looking for ways to build up that practice, because it feels like that's something that I can do to kind of give back, is to help coach leaders in nonprofit positions. I'm going to do more fishing, and then what else? I'm not sure.
So there's several questions that are related. Will we still see Reverend Peter at UUCDC? Will you come back to visit? Will you be available to conduct weddings?
So I'm going to be making kind of a clean break. It's going to be hard to make that clean break. It's sort of like I'm talking about ripping off the Band-Aid. Irene and I decided that we weren't going to stay in Swarthmore because, frankly, for me, to wake up on Monday morning, June 13th, and have everything the same in my life except that I'm not the minister seemed really hard. And that's one of the reasons we're moving away, is to really make a break of it. I won't be back anytime soon. I will be happy to be back when I'm invited to be back by your new minister, if that happens or when that happens. In terms of performing official ministerial functions for the church, that's something that I won't be doing, at least right away. There may be a point sometime in the future where that happens, but for all intents and purposes, this will be the end of my relationship with the congregation, at least for the foreseeable future.
And then adding to that, after retirement, how might you stay connected to Unitarian Universalism? Will you be a member of the UUA still? Will you be attending GA?
So I'm not going to General Assembly this year out in Portland, but I'm still a member of the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association and part of the UUA. And Irene and I will be exploring, there is a UU church in Keene, New Hampshire, so we'll see how that fits with what our needs will be. But I plan probably to do some pulpit supply for local colleagues in New England. And everybody needs a Sunday off, and they're always looking for somebody to preach, and so I'll probably do some of that work too.
Okay. Does anyone have information regarding the diversity of the interim minister applicant pool?
That sounds like a question for you.
So I can tell you that we have no information right now about the applicant pool. What we did was, and the way the system is set up, they have an online system that each church that's searching for an interim minister develops a whole packet of information that they submit, and we did that. The board put together a whole packet, and we submitted that. The applicant pool will then go through all of those, and they will select the ones that they're interested in. And I want to say May the 2nd.
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Wow. May the 2nd, we will be receiving those, any of the ministers that were interested in us. Up to 6, I think, was the max that they would give to us. And the board is actually meeting on Tuesday evening to review all of those and say yes, no, maybe. And that is how we'll do that. We did put in our packet a lot of information about how committed we are to the 8th principle, so that we're trying to, attract applicants who are also committed to the 8th principle. Do you have any others? No? Let me see. Okay.
Is there anything you wanted to accomplish that did not happen?
It's like, yes, there's so much. I think that there are two things that I'll name. One is that this church has never had 300 members, and I was so intent on getting us to 300 members, and it didn't happen. We can blame the pandemic for that, but we get up to 285, 270 in that, and then we just slide back a little. So even without the pandemic, I can't blame the pandemic. That was just like a personal thing in my head that I wanted to get this church over the 300 number. But I think the bigger thing, I think one of the challenges our congregation has and has always had is how we deepen our connections with the community, with the surrounding community. And there's no there's no end point for that. But I think that I would have liked to have seen us develop a deeper presence in the community so that we're recognized more readily as being a force for justice and change and progressivism in our community. And that's something all of you can continue to work on. And I think we made improvements. I would have liked to have seen us get a little farther than we did.
With the interim minister, outside of Sunday services, what will be done to continue the work of thinking about who we are as a congregation? So, you may have heard already that the board has begun some visioning work, and we will continue that work and start bringing folks together so that you all in the congregation will be involved in that work as well. We think it's extremely important right now, especially, to start talking to the congregation, listening to what you all have to say about who we are now, who do we want to be, where do we want to go, all of that kind of visioning work that can help us to move forward in eventually calling a settled minister. And so that's the work that's going to start happening. There may be some work going on in the summer. I'm not sure, maybe. Some groups talking about that. And then when we have an interim minister who will hopefully be coming to us in August, we are hoping to find someone that's really going to support us in that kind of transition work of, doing the visioning work and then figuring out who would be a good settled minister to come and help us to continue that work.
And in many ways, that's one of the primary tasks of an interim minister, is to help the congregation be able to articulate its identity, who it is now, and who it wants to be in the future. So that should be a lot of what happens in the next 2 years.
I'm not watching time.
We're okay. Yeah, we got time.
What do you? Mm-hmm. So here is a question that was posed. Who runs the church when the new interim minister is getting used to their new position? And so, you know, that's important to know that we do have a lot of lay leadership, very strong leadership here at the church. Our staff are fabulous, you know, they know what they're doing. Our executive team, then the staff will report to the executive team until we have an interim minister, and the board is responsible for any policy setting that needs to happen. So we have a strong leadership, I think, here right now that you know, there shouldn't be any issues as far as who's in charge, who's doing what. We've got that covered. I wouldn't worry about that. You have another question?
We do, if you don't have, so this was probably from an online person, since Marilyn is monitoring the online chat. How are guest ministers invited? That's something that I can tell you how I've done it over the past several years. It's basically me inviting guest ministers into the pulpit. We've got all the Sundays in the summer filled with guest ministers, so we'll have worship regularly through the summer. And then during the regular church year, in the past, I have invited colleagues to come and fill the pulpit. The new minister may have put together a worship committee or some other group to do that. It'll be up to them as to how that's done going forward. But often it's done by the minister extending those invitations. And we did want to provide an opportunity, if there are questions that have come up as a result of questions or answers, we're happy to bring a microphone to you if you'd like to answer a question, ask a question. Yeah, John.
This is more for the board. I was just wondering, in light of everything that's happened and everything that's happening, if we will be making more efforts to have sort of like, you know, like we used to do, like pastries on the playground and just sort of mixers or whatever outside, or just chances for people of different generations, different backgrounds to sort of mingle. I know we have the coffee hour on Sundays, but I was wondering if we were going to be doing anything beyond that. Thanks.
Lori Rice-Spring is here. She's our executive team member for member engagement. I don't know if you want to be put on the spot, Lori, because isn't there there's a picnic being planned? Is that right?
Yes, so thanks, John. That's a great question. And these are all, I'm the member engagement person on the executive team, and so I welcome all thoughts and interests and requests. And yeah, right. So yes, so those things are in the works, always pushing out ideas to come up with ways that we can gather safely here on the church grounds. So yes, to the answer to the question is yes.
And we're having a big party on June 11th, Saturday, June 11th, 3 to 8, right? That's the going away party that's planned. So put that on your calendar. Do we have other questions? This must be a hard one they're consulting on.
Yeah, I mean, we did have a couple of questions that don't really have anything to do with the interim transition. A couple of questions around renovations, which, you know, as you all know, our capital campaign is on hold right now, and I don't know if we have any in the immediate future. There are some beautification kind of that's happening.
So if you haven't visited the Memorial Garden recently, that has been re-landscaped, and the river rocks have been reset. It looks beautiful out there. I invite you to go visit that. The Memorial Garden Committee has done a great job leading that. We're also going to be repaving the parking lot very soon. Do we have a time frame on that yet? Not yet, but sometime soon. The parking lot's late summer. And then if you come to the annual meeting on May 22nd, at which time we adopt our budget, you'll see that the budget includes a substantial investment in deferred maintenance kind of items for the building and the grounds. So there are plans underway for that. We good?
Yeah.
Any other questions, thoughts, comments? You know, speak now or forever hold your peace kind of thing? Just kidding. Well, thank you. I appreciate all the questions, and I think we'll move to our closing hymn then. Thank you very much for coordinating that for us. So let us rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, which is, where is that? What is it, Joy?
323, Break Not the Circle.
Break not the circle of enabling love. Chalice flame, let us say together the words on the screen. Although we now extinguish our chalice flame, may we hold its warmth in our hearts in all the days ahead. Just a little preview for next Sunday. We are going back to one service at 10 o'clock. That'll be our sort of summer schedule, one service at 10. We'll be celebrating both Mother's Day, and we will be naming and dedicating lots and lots of children. So come for that. It's such a great celebration. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you to our tech team in the booth back there, Don, Rob, and Marilyn, and I believe there's someone else. Who am I forgetting? I can't see them. Skip. Oh, Skip Seeloss. Thank you. Thank you to our hospitality team. Thank you, Jane and Kathy, for coordinating the Q&A. Thank you all for being here and online, making this time together sacred. I invite you, if you're online, to stay online to join a breakout group, a virtual coffee hour, and if you're here in the sanctuary, we can go out into the circle and socialize out there. If you're comfortable taking the hand of someone nearby for our benediction, I invite you to do so. If not, you can feel free to raise your hand in virtual hand holding as we say together the words on our screen. For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those who come embracing life, may life return your affection. And for those who come to seek a path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step. Blessed be. Have a good week.